Hey everyone, I hope everyone's having a lovely December and we'll have a lovely Christmas and New Year. And that's coming from me and Fee. Um, I'm making this video because I thought it was very in keeping to the time of the year. I wanted to have a discussion about traditions for Christmas, from around the world. Um, because obviously people, talk about it and they celebrate it, but I thought it might be very interesting on the channel to speak about it too. Um, Now, obviously, I'm not going to be able to do, all around the world because that would take forever. And I'm itching my nose a lot because I'm allergic to cats, which is very unfortunate because I got Fee before realizing that, and I couldn't give her up for anything. She's my little baby, so yeah, I can cope with it. It just means a bit of an itchy nose, a sneeze a lot, things like that. Um, but yeah, I won't be able to speak about every single Christmas tradition all around the world because um that would, take up hours and hours, and I don't think my voice could do that. Um, but what I'm gonna do is I've put together five in particular, and I'm going to speak about them, which I find, very interesting. So the first I want to speak about is a tradition from Ukraine, and it is actually called the Christmas spider's web. It may have different names everywhere. Um, but basically, what it's about, um, there was a family a long time ago in Ukraine, and they were very poor, and they managed to get to a tree outside the house, and they cleaned it up, and it looked beautiful, and it looked just like a Christmas tree. It was lovely. Um, but because they were very poor, they couldn't afford to decorate it. So that night, the children went to bed feeling really upset because they couldn't decorate it, and the widow felt very bad. Um, and there was a hut next door, and it was overrun by spiders, and the spiders caught on to the fact that they couldn't decorate like they wanted to, and they were good people. So they woke up the next morning to find all of the spiders had decorated the tree with webs. And when the light caught these webs, they looked beautiful. They were gold and silver, just like decorations, and they were never poor again because of the gold and silver. And I just chose that one because it's such a beautiful story. Um, it's a nice way to, look at decorating the tree and remembering what Christmas is really about, and what should really bring you happiness. And it's an interesting fact. There's a lot in Ukraine now of spiderweb decorations that you can hang on your tree. And you can see it pretty much everywhere, but I think it's a much more big thing there for that reason. But yeah, that one struck me when I read it because it is a beautiful story, and I myself am very arachnophobic. But I also respect the hell out of spiders because they they can build something so strong out of something seemingly not strong, out of silk. They create this, basically they're creating like a place for them to stay, but also to capture things, and I think that's really amazing. And it puts another level onto the story as well, and it paints the picture that they're not the villains that you would expect. So yeah, that was the first story that I wanted to mention. Okay, so the next one I would say is a bit more on the spooky side, but again, it has a very good ending message. And it's from Iceland, and it's the Yule Cat. Um, and legend goes there is a huge cat, and it stalks around certain areas in Iceland, and it eats people that aren't dressed appropriately for the weather. Um, for the harsh winters and things like that. And it's supposed to be a good reason why families gather, because that way they can protect each other from the Yule Cat. And again, I really liked this story, even though it's got more of a horror kind of twist to it. Um, I did like it a bit more because it shows the reasoning for people coming together and the importance for it as well. And that's such a big part of Christmas, because you always hear people saying, well, we're seeing family, or we're going to see friends, and these gatherings, and that makes a bit more sense. So yeah, that's the second one. So that's from Iceland. So we've had Ukraine and Iceland. Now, the next one I wanted to mention is a Welsh tradition. I might completely butcher the pronunciation for this, so please let me know if I have. Marie Louise, and this goes like when I first saw it, it was very scary. Um, but again, it has a very wholesome meaning to it. And Marie Louise is basically a, a horse skull, and it's affixed to a stick, and they have a sheet over them to make them look like a horse, basically. And the tale usually, because it's been recorded as far back as being part of tradition all the way back to the 1800s, but it's been recorded happening recently as well, so it's a tradition I think people still hold dear, but in certain places. And what happens is there's usually a group of people. It's the person masquerading as the horse themselves, someone who accompanies them, and usually there's a few people that follow, as characters like Punch and Judy, things like that. Um, and they go around, say, a village, and they will knock on doors and ask to be invited in. Um, and they're being permitted, like, there's always a chance that they're let in or not let in, and then sometimes people, I assume luck, would actually let them in to celebrate with them, give them food and drink and things like that. Um, so yeah, I do believe that is a bit more on the terrifying side because it's a basic skeleton. Um, but it has a wholesome meaning to actually let in something that might appear scary on the outside, but actually be something that's good at the end of the day. So yeah, that struck me, and I wanted to talk about that because it's one of those traditions where people might be a bit standoffish and not want to partake in it, but it's actually a very good tradition to be in. So that's number 3. The fourth one I wanted to mention was the Yule Goat, and that's a Swedish tradition that was very interesting. And again, legend has it that instead of um, instead of his sleigh, Santa would ride the goat, and he would ride it round to, check up on all the prep for things like Christmas to see if it was done, if it was being done properly. And as time has gone on, obviously the goat isn't seen. Um, so there's a lot of decorations of goats. There's like tree ornaments, things like that, or just placed around the house. And there's certain countries they erect a giant straw statue of a goat, and it's quite like the Wicker Man, and it gets burnt every year, as I think it's a sign of respect. And yeah, it's another one you would think with the whole burning thing, it would be seen as something a bit sinister, but it's showing respect and symbolism for something. So that's another one. The last one I wanted to mention is a more modern tradition that you see about even now, and that is in place like Australia where it's very hot. Um, and if you go down to some beaches, you will see people, surfing, riding the waves, and they'll have Santa hats on. So even though where they live is as warm as it is, they're still wanting to keep Christmas alive in that way. And sometimes when surfing's going on, they're actually raising money at the same time for charity, so it's again a very wholesome thing. So okay, to wrap up, obviously it's not been a very long video, and it's a bit hard to have chance to make longer videos, and obviously it's a bit difficult anyway because it's just difficult. I'm getting the hang of video editing, things like that. But hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know below. And I will see you all very soon.